understand why everyone doesn't have a policeman standing outside their front door like she does. So at the end of that round, the score, Ian and Sandi still in the lead with 8, but Paul and Kate are fighting back with 5. Well, time now for the third round, which we're going to be calling round 3. Money well spent having 16 researchers on this show. This time we're going to be a little bit more cryptic. Each team gets a montage of visual clues which relate to a major story of the week. But which one? Ian and Sandi.
That's Sir Anthony Mayer.
He's checking what time he's got to meet his girlfriend, and that's her. And they go Dutch, or every time they go out anywhere.
Good.
And he used to be the chief whip.
Well, you're not a million miles away from the truth, I must say.
This is Sir Anthony Mayer, who's actually a terrific man.
Would have made a wonderful Prime Minister.
Would have made a great Prime Minister, but happened to be having a bit of trouble on the side, being beaten up by aggressive women. Mrs. Thatcher, who beat him off when he was a stalking horse, which is the horse.
The horse, good.
Oh, very
Horse.
good.
Yeah,
What was the water?
What was the water there?
Well, the water you say
He's
is
washed up.
going Dutch was not
Yeah.
far off.
But he used to have nookie in Holland. What?
Well, if you go via the spanking, you might get it.
I
what
do
is the
usually.
Spanking, that small town outside Amsterdam.
I'll give you 1 point for
Diane Washington. That's not in Holland, is it?
No,
That was her
and
name?
it wasn't Diane Washington anyway, it was Simone Washington, so apologies to Diane Washington. If you
Another apology.
please don't send us any Brits, send them to Ian. He did in fact, he sent her to a special spanking school in Amsterdam to learn how to do it, this is true. That's the one.
And you can get the address later.
It's one of the few schools where you're sent to the headmaster's study and beaten, but only if you're very, very good. Paul and Kate, here's your bizarre juxtaposition of images.
Yes. Terry Wogan, the thinking man's cheeseburger. George Best. This is the sort of thing that George Best sees when he's drunk. Monster Raven, yes, the Monster Raven Looney Party want George Best to be their Minister of Culture.
You said it in one, yes, absolutely right, as a result of the Wogan Day
Like
barter.
inebriation on his another program.
Yes, Best was invited to join the Monster Raving Looney Party, and a spokesman for George said on his behalf, now it's time for our mini headlines round. These are the obscure little subtitles that break up big tabloid stories just as they're getting interesting. We'll show each team a set of mini headlines from a particular story. They either have to identify the right story or concoct a better one. You'll soon get the hang of it as the hours drag by. Paul Merton and Kate Saunders, explain these, if you will. Helpless?
Yes.
Helpless.
Struggle. Glamour. Explosive.
That's Jane Collins, obviously.
Yes.
Opening in private lives.
Yes.
The operative word, of course, is struggle,
Yes.
because she was still trying to get out of the paper bag. Not being over-gifted in the acting department.
She relied on glamour, then her knickers exploded.
It's actually nothing to do with Jane Collins, so I very much enjoyed
Can we
listening
have a
to it.
clue? Could we have a
Yes,
clue?
I'll give you a clue.
Trousers before?
Boldly going where no woman has been before. That's your clue.
With Teddy Cox.
It should be boldly going. It's Star Trek, isn't it?
It is,
It's
yeah.
Star Trek again. The new generation.
And what's funny about it, or what's interesting
Nothing.
about it?
Nothing.
Apparently, it's the first to feature interstellar sex. We're not sure who Stella is at the moment, but I'll keep you posted. Gives a whole new meaning to the expression "captain's log." Ian Hislop and Sandi
Or indeed,
Toksvig.
beam me up, Scotty.
Either of those.
Is that in your ear, Uhura?
Or are you just pleased to see me?
Ian and Sandi, here's an equally obscure set of mini headlines for you.
Virgin. Obviously a story about Bonnie Langford.
That's Richard Branson, Virgin.
Okay,
Silence.
very good.
No, it isn't.
No,
Charm. No, it's not Richard Branson. Trust. No, it certainly isn't him.
Do you want a clue?
Oh, go mad.
It's okay. It's about a couple who aren't as close as they were.
Ah, well, and in that case, it must be old Rudelenska and Dennis Waterman.
No, it's even more glamorous than them.
Is it?
It's a good guess, very good guess, but it's
Dennis Waterman
completely
having...
untrue.
no, all right.
No, it's an appalling slur on the royal family.
Yep.
Yet another one. This is a suggestion that Diana was a virgin. That's not the slur. That's absolutely true. Her father said so on television. Silence. They're very silent with each other, apparently.
Right.
Charm.
They're very charming with each other.
Very charming. And they trust each other. And that's the sort of story we want to read about the royal family.
Silent virgins trusting each other in a charming way.
Okay, well, I'll give you 2 points for that. You're not far off. Yeah, their 10-year marriage is on the rocks. That's according to a new book by Andrew Merton. Part of the problem is that ever since Charles had bits of his hip grafted onto his elbow, he's been trying to get his arm over. Well, it's time for an update on the score. Yes, it's absolutely true. Well, it's almost getting exciting. Ian and Sandi have 11 points, and Paul and Kate now have 10. Now it's time for our archive round. We show each team a piece of film, but stop it at the vital moment. They have to tell us what happened next, and anyone who says question of sport gets sent out of the room. In the interest of political balance, we're going to be ridiculing the SDP Liberal Alliance twice. Ian, sorry. And Sandi, what happened next?
This is the list. That is the number. And all these sheets of paper have names. 8 foot of list. 8 foot of list of people waiting for treatment by the free, supposedly available health service.
Well, all the people in the audience died because they were on that list, I think. And he was quite dreary about the whole thing. And he was then shot by environmentalists for wasting so much paper.
Untrue, but funny. You can have a point for being funny.
As I remember it, which is very badly, I think he held up the list and there weren't any names on it.
Well, you're not far off.
Because it was a list of members of the SDP at the time.
Yes. Well, let's see if you're right.
8 foot of list of people waiting for treatment by the free, supposedly available health service.
But that wasn't strictly true. It was really a list of Alliance supporters.
What looks like names. They're over phony, are they? They're not phony, but they're not the names of people on the waiting list because those names are confidential. They are names that are irrelevant to this debate.
I love it. These people are suffering and their names are irrelevant. That's
That's absolutely right, so 2 points to you. So, Kate and Paul, let's have a look at yours.
Mr. Chairman, Lord Kenyon, ladies and gentlemen, what is the salient fact of the political situation as it affects this country, as it affects...
Oh, this is a very famous bit of film. This is where Roy Jenkins' head exploded. And little tiny but perfectly formed pink flamingos flew out the back of his skull and circled the room and did a quick chorus of Here, House of the Rising Sun.
Let's see what happens.
What is the salient fact of the political situation as it affects this country, as it affects Newcastle, and it seems to me that here the question of great importance which is more likely.
And there's more.
Equally, Mr. Kinnock, I think he made a brave speech at Brighton, Bournemouth.
Yes, Roy Jenkins there making George Best sound coherent. It's now time for the no expense spared part of the show, or no expense spent more like, in which we present you with a selection of hand-picked designer objects that between them encapsulate a major news story of the week. Ian and Sandi, if you'd like to just have a look at these. We've got some oranges, some handcuffs, and a parrot.
fun for the whole family.
Do with these what you will.
Well, we'll be back then.
Just like to go behind the screen.
What's this? Ken